All right, with that story, to help me put this into perspective, I'm joined by a political leadership and communication expert, Bushebi Jr., and he has a vast experience on matters finance. Karibu, Mr. Bushebi.
Asante sana.
All right, your thoughts particularly on that part?
First of all, the issue of finance bill is a emotive issue all of a sudden, because it affects every area of Kenyan's life. Your life, my life, anybody, including the unborn children. And so any decision that the government is going to take, or any law that the government is going to take on the resources that are owned by the people of the Republic of Kenya, has to create emotions, you know. But emotions aside, we need to look at this matter from the numbers perspective. Put numbers to perspective. For example, you're saying we are going to have 3.9 trillion budget. That's a number. And so the discussion should begin now to interrogate that number, 3.9 trillion, and then break down the number. So, but you see, not everybody is so good with numbers. So most of the times we focus on the policy.
Yes.
We focus on the law itself. You know, we shall move this clause and put this clause. You know. So lawyers are good with that. But when it comes to the accounting side of it, that is where, as Kenyans, we need now to begin to focus on the numbers. When they say that Deputy President's office has been allocated, renovation alone is around, I was looking at, let me see, there's a Deputy President Harambee Annex Office refurbishment is 460 million.
Yes.
Drug abuse fight in Deputy President's office is 250 million. Medals, I don't know how many people even understand. I don't even understand what medals mean. It's 250 million. Motor vehicles alone, just buying high-end cars to move around, and these guzzlers that consume, you know, a lot of fuel, which of course again there's a public participation going on raising the fuel levy from 18 to 25 shillings for per liter of fuel. And then so 200 million has been allocated to purchase more cars to consume that money. You know, fuel, the cost of fuel is going up, and you and me are going to pay for that. Your children are going to pay for that. Yes. So how do you finance all these numbers? And now you look at the source of the revenue, where the revenues are going to come from. Number one, there are only two areas where you can get the revenue. That is the taxes or borrowing. Yes. And so right now when you look at Kenya, the borrowing ceiling is almost over. We can't borrow that much. And then, so if there's going to be any form of borrowing by the government, then that simply means that they are borrowing it incognito. Most members of parliament, including the parliament itself, will discover that the government, I mean the executive borrowed, but they were not even informed. They don't even know that that money was borrowed, and where it went, they won't even know. So a lot of numbers will be done by the executive without really the supervision of the parliament. And so those are things that I think Kenyans should begin to interrogate. Another thing is that if there's going to be a borrowing, like I said, it will be done incognito by the executive. Then we're going to have another source of revenue, which is taxes. Kenyans are already overtaxed, and so there's no more room for taxes. But you see, this finance bill has to be financed, whether you like it or not. And there are only two ways. There's no any other way. It's either you borrow or you tax. Yes. And so that's where the conversation now comes in. Now we need to interrogate the numbers. If we borrow, how much are we borrowing? If we tax Kenyans, how much are you taxing Kenyans? But that is not even the main question. The main question now is, where is this money going? Like, let's break it down. For example, you're saying that Harambee Annex Office refurbishment will take 460 million. Then we begin to interrogate that 460 million. What exactly what is consuming 1 million, what is consuming 50,000, what is consuming.
Yes.
We need to see that. Well, when you listen to, like when I listened to Kimani Kuria, the chairperson of the finance committee in parliament, he said that most of this information is private information. It belongs to the treasury. All that work goes on. So it's not public information. So you'll only be given a figure of 460 million and then they tell you vote for it. Vote yes, pass it, you know. That's all that they will do. But the nitty-gritty of that, then you'll be told we have a debt of 11 trillion shillings. When did we get to 11 trillion shillings? There's I was listening to this Azimio leader who was saying Uhuru Kenyatta borrowed 6 trillion shillings in 10 years.
Yes.
In 1.5 years, William Ruto has borrowed 5 trillion and is planning to borrow again almost 2 trillion. Okay, and so you begin to, you know, it doesn't make sense. And that's why now the real conversation begins. Let us interrogate these numbers. First of all, where are these numbers coming from? Who is coming up with these numbers? And why? What is the source of this finance bill? Who really came up with these numbers? That is where we should begin. Number two, because they could be having a good reason as to why they came up with these numbers.
Yes.
Okay, we might look at it and say, no, this is too much. But maybe they have a better reason as to why they had to come up with these numbers. And so the interrogation should be on numbers. This money, where are we going to get it and why? Why in the first place do we need these cars? Why would a member of parliament, why would a deputy president or president have a convoy of 50 cars? All of them are high-end guzzlers. And it's Mwananchi paying for that. What for? Where are you going? What are you? Why do you need all those cars just to move from point A to point B? Why do you need all this? And so that's the conversation that we should be having. Now, if you are allocated 250 million, okay, wait a minute. You should start using magari na kunywa mafuta kidogo.
Yes.
Because in other countries, presidents wanaendesha hata bike. Prime ministers wanaendesha bike akienda job. It's only in Kenya where MP wana earn a lot of money. And all this money is coming from taxes and borrowings. And so it's high time we have a conversation about the numbers. Who came up with these numbers? Is it a foreigner who is running this country? Is it our own president? Is it the treasury? Who is writing these numbers down? Who are the economic advisors? Where is this finance bill coming from? Why are they doing whatever they are doing? Those are the questions that Kenyans should be asking right now and interrogating these numbers. You know, these numbers should be put out there for accountants, financial managers, Kenyans, anybody should now begin to interrogate these numbers. Because even in your own home, you are able to do your own budget. Even hata kama unaishi kwa kabed sita, you can do your own budget. Niko na 5,000, nafaa kulipa rent 1,000, nafaa kufanya kukula, you know. So Kenyans are not stupid. So can we tie these things to physical, you know, manifestation of what you're saying? If you're saying you're borrowing for roads, which road? And where is this road located?
Yes.
When is the project starting? Who are the contractors? So that Kenyans can follow up. If you say it's 6 months, they'll follow up and say, hey, we gave you 200 million. You said you're going to finish this road in 6 months. It is 6 months. We want to see the road. Media cannot go there and check the road for us. Instead of just saying development 1 trillion or 200 billion. Which development? 1.5 years down the line, people are beginning to question. So you borrowed 5 trillion shillings. Where did this money go? So the question is, who came up with these numbers?
Yes.
Yes.
Just a follow-up question, Bushebi Junior. You just mentioned something. Is really the president running this country or someone else? There are allegations that the IMF have a hand in the finance bill 2024 and they are exerting pressure. And why is it that the Kenya Kwanza administration, quote and unquote, imposing tax measures? So my question is, why does it matter for IMF has a say to the finance bill 2024 or rather the economy of our country?
I don't know about IMF running this country.
I've just said allegations.
Allegations. That's why I'm saying I don't know about that. But I've come across those allegations. But one thing I do understand about any financial institution
Yes.
and the way financial institutions run, uh, financial institutions have their own policies and laws on how they do their business. Kenya is a member of IMF. We get money from them, get money from World Bank. They don't give us for free. Of course, they loan us.
Yes.
They loan Kenya money. So the syndicate is a global syndicate where countries contribute to the fund. That's why it's called International Monetary Fund, where countries contribute a certain amount of money to that fund, and then countries can again borrow from the same fund. If you want to fund some form of development, you borrow from the same fund, and then, or they can give you a grant, and then at a certain rate, of course, you're going to pay back, not a grant but a loan. You will pay back. So depending on the policy, and remember, it's IMF that dictates the interest rate. Like we are giving you this 1 trillion, you at 18% or 30%.
Yes.
Okay, so once you get the money, then you need to pay that money back. So IMF is the bank. The bank, of course, is called World Bank, but IMF is the bank. And then Kenya is the business. Kenya is their business. So when you go to the bank, for example, you have a business and you ask the bank for a loan, they tell you, will give you, they look at how your business is performing. First of all, they go to your records and how you've been banking and stuff like that, and then they will come and even assess your business and try to look at how you're running your business, so that they can decide whether to give you that kind of a loan if you have the capacity to pay it back. So that's what IMF does. If you go to them and ask them for a loan, you know, they come and assess to see how you're running your business.
Yes.
It's not really a country. For IMF, this is not a country, it's a business. So they come and assess how the president is running his business. And so they assess all sectors of economy. They assess import, export, production, and that's why you keep hearing words like GDP, blah, blah, blah. We want to be like this, we want to be like, because it's IMF trying to see whether you have the capacity to pay back. Okay, so once they determine that, yes, you have the capacity, but your economy is not structured through policies. You haven't structured your economy in such a manner that they can get their money back plus interest, principal plus interest. Then they'll begin to advise you on how to run things, run the economy. And now you'll see that product in the finance bill. So eventually you'll just see a finance bill. You'll just begin to see taxes, you'll just begin to see policies and laws, and you just begin to see things moving, and you're like, wait a minute, what's going on? No, it's that the lenders have agreed to give you money, and they expect their money, principal plus interest, and they're trying to reorganize the way you do business. The only problem is the corruption in IMF and World Bank, because most of this money is most of this financing that you hear about is done by multinational companies. Okay, so these multinational companies, remember, it's called a company for a reason. So when they say they are coming to do something in Kenya, no, they are not coming to save you from poverty. Forget about that. Don't ever put that in your head. They're not coming to save you from poverty. They're not coming to create a job for you. They're coming to do business. It's either you're going to do business or you go home. That's the law. It's either you make money or just go home. So with business world, we are not helping one another.
Yes.
Okay? When I'm doing business with you, you're not helping me and I'm not helping you. We are doing business. You're doing an exchange. It's value game. Okay, so these multinationals will come in and they'll put up, let's say, SGR. And they say, no, now that we put it here, we're going to manage it for this time, and no, this is the way things will be running, and then we get our money back. Maybe after 20 years, our money will be back. We'll leave that thing to be yours forever. You can go on. Okay, fine. We will put up a Nairobi superhighway. And then that's why you keep hearing presidents saying we have agreed with the direct tenders being given to these multinationals and stuff like that. So they come in to do business. That is why we have a diplomatic or foreign affairs cabinet secretary.
Yes.
This is their job. So when you hear that Kenya is going west, or Kenya is going east, or Kenya is going I don't know where, now this is a game of multinational companies that they want to invest so that they get their money back. So forget the narrative that they're coming to create jobs for you. Forget the narratives that they're coming to build you. Most of these multinational business entities, they come, and this is the game of IMF plays. They do not come to make you rich. Okay? They don't come to make you rich. They will come to force you to produce things that you don't need, but things that their countries back at home need.
Yes.
Yeah. That is why they cannot allow you to process coffee. They will want you to, plant coffee, then export it. Okay. That's why they will not allow you to process your oil in Turkana. They just want you to, let's dig the oil, let's get the oil, let's take it back for refining the oil, and then you again will you import the same oil at a higher price and bring it back to Kenya.
Yes.
And then increase the fuel levy. You see, this is the game they play. They never come to make you rich. They're in business. They're in business. And so most presidents, African presidents, become puppets of this IMF and World Bank. Because they're so good with this diplomatically that they can elevate you to a position where you feel you are the king. Okay? And so you give in to everything that they're too smart. They're smarter. You can't outsmart them as an African. You're a beggar. You're a poor person. You have nothing. And so African countries are slaves to IMF, because that's what IMF does to African states. Na ukiwasumbua pia kuna venye wanaweza kuondoa hapo tu. They have their own means, ni huwezi jua. So the question of IMF having a hand, or multinational companies having, or foreigners having a hand in a finance bill, they don't have a hand in such that they, in a manner that they infringe the laws of the country. No, not at all. They have a huge say in the finance bill in a legal way, because you have their money and they want their money back. And so you'll begin to see a lot of levies and taxes, housing levy. You'll see this, you were changing NHIF to SHIF, because they want their money back.
Yes.
Okay. And if you don't pay them, there are consequences. They will tell you, if you don't pay, we're going to declare you a pariah country. Nobody will do business with you. They'll deflate you to the point of where you are no longer even a country. You just be destroyed. Problem is, they never come to build your country. They never come to build your country. They come to force you to produce things that you don't need. That's why in Congo wameenda huko na wanatoa dhahabu